What's up? This is your boy Fareed Rashad, and you're here at Keep It Sharp with Fareed Rashad. Today I got a special treat for you. I'm here with my boy Jesse Lima. What's up, Jesse?
Yeah, man, good. Over here getting ready to lace you up.
Well, about a month ago, Jesse had gave me a SMP, my first session of SMP procedure, and I'm also one of his students. And today we're going to talk about what happens after you get SMP. So let's get right into it. I'm going to take my headset off, and then we're going to get right into it, guys. All right? Give me 1 sec. So this is my second session, and you can move your mic closer if you want to. Mm-hmm. This will be my second session, so you guys get to see exactly what Jesse does. Mm-hmm. No, that's good. That's good. Thank you. And hey, listen, guys that's thinning, going bald, this is a great solution. If you're not into getting surgeries or hair transplants. So I'll let Jesse take it from here because he's the master.
What's going on, guys? All right, so like Fareed said, about a month ago, I went ahead and did his first session of SMP. Almost a year ago, he actually took my class to become certified to provide clients with scalp micro pigmentation. And one of our main conversations, right, in the classes, that we talk about promoting and advertising and marketing and things like that. And I told Fareed, like, look, you need SMP.
Oh shit! Oh, you go ahead.
Right. I know. Yeah. So my bad. All right, so we was talking about SMP procedures and kind of promoting it out there, and it is something that, like, if you're gonna be selling it and you need SMP yourself, you kind of got to get it done. And and our conversations were, Fareed likes his bald head. He's always loved his bald head. He felt comfortable with it. Had no lack of confidence. So it's not always that scalp micropigmentation creates confidence with people. It's only if they need it, right? And the truth is that the majority of people that are losing their hair, they are going through it. There's, like, from my experience with the 6 years I've been doing scalp micropigmentation, we've had people in here that have tried committing suicide. Like, it's that serious for some people. We had people that just wouldn't take pictures without a hat on. We had people that have left some of their best friends, being a best man at a wedding, kind of left them hanging because they couldn't wear a hat at the wedding, bro. Like, it's serious, Mm-hmm. So sometimes we get the special cases where we get the guys in here that are like, man, look, I like my bald head, but a hairline is a hairline. Like I wish I had it back. I could definitely use those 10, 15 years of youth brought back, with the hairline that we're going to do. So, I was able to just, back and forth, talking with Fareed about it, and him, putting himself out there as a SMP artist and, being questioned about it. My man went ahead and decided, like, yo, Jess, you know what? Let's do it, bro. Let's make it happen.
Yeah, because I me trying to get clients to sit in my chair to get SMP, they would always look at my head and say, well, why don't you get it? And my reply was, I don't feel like I need it. I'm cool with the bald head. I'm good with it. But I think what I was really saying to some guys, it almost looked like I was being cocky, like I don't need it, but you do. So it almost looked like that. But then, from coming from a cosmetic standpoint, it did improve the way it looked. But when I first got it done, and as Jesse said, when I first got it done, and I went home, I was looking in the mirror, and I couldn't help but kept looking. I was like, who is this guy? I don't recognize this guy. Because I started balding when I was about 22, 23. And I'm 57 now. So I was not used to seeing myself with a hairline or any type of hair there. So it was really strange, and I was second guessing myself, like maybe I shouldn't have got it done. you know, those are the feelings that I was having, and that lasted for about a good 24 hours because a lady, she was like, "Oh, you look really good," and then so did everybody, and it looked great because you know Jesse is a master of what he does. But me being, you know,
used to it,
not used to seeing myself that way, it was almost like I almost had regrets of doing it. But then I'm glad I did it. But it was like, maybe I shouldn't have done this. I didn't know. So, you know, these are some of the things that when you consider getting this procedure done, you have to think about that kind of stuff, you know, and it's definitely going to change how you look. It's, you know, and for the guy that's, you know, wants to have some confidence and stuff like that, you will have that. But as for me, I felt like, oh wow, this is freaking me out, you know, for the first 24 hours. But the next day, I was fine. I was happy that I did it. It looked great, you know, knocked off a few years of my look. So I was really happy with it. And even now, as I'm getting my second phase, I'm more, you know, I'm used to it, and so I'm really looking forward to see how the final product looks.
Yeah, man. And you know, when Fareed, you know, the after 24 hours getting his procedure done, he called me, and you know, he called me. He was like, "Yo, Jess, has anybody ever talked about this?" That's why he was like, "Yo, let's put together this podcast and let's talk about this," because it was funny. But like maybe like 2-3 months ago, I had a client that had that same feeling, man. And normally, you know, some people will express themselves, but some, you know, right then and there, and some people are kind of like shy to like say things. But I did have one client recently that, you know, I did his SMP, and he was bald for a long time as well too, and he was really bald. Like, at least you still have some hair stubble here, so it's like, you know, you still have something. But my man that I'm talking about, like, he was missing the whole top down to the back, a lot, like completely, his sides were completely gone. So his forehead was naturally wide, you know, not just going back, but really wide. So after I did his SMP, it was kind of, you know, it sucks for the artist to kind of see this, because, you know, we're expecting like the, oh my God, this is amazing, wow, I haven't seen myself like that. And he was just in silence, and just kind of serious, looking at himself and just checking himself out, and kind of like, damn, bro, I don't know. I was like, what do you mean, you don't like it? He's like, no, man, listen, it looks amazing. It's crazy how it looks so realistic. It looks just like hair, but I don't know if I made the right choice, bro. Like, I'm not used to this. Like, and you know, he was instant about it. So that was kind of like, damn, you know.
And so those were some of the, that sound like some of the same thing I was going through. When I got home and I was looking in the mirror, I mean, the lady, she was really, really happy and pleased and smiling, and believe me, I liked it how it looked, but it was almost like,
which is weird.
But it was weird to me, exactly. So, you know, I mean, SMP, I feel like it was like reinventing yourself. You know, it just gave me a new, you know, because, you know, I'm going into my older years, and it just was time for a change.
Yeah. And you know what? That's why I suggested the more natural hairline instead of like a really defined hairline, or even bringing your hairline too low. Like, I wanted to keep it kind of receding, because when we choosing these hairlines, bro, like, you know, it's not just what you think or what I think needs to be done. Like, it really comes down to like the consultation, and when we're talking about this SMP, right, and making sure that I fully understand what you're looking for, and that I could provide you what you want, but at the same time what you need and what should fit you. So it's not just always give somebody a sharp hairline or natural hairline, or bring the hairline low and in. Sometimes we got to kind of keep it receding, bro, because the reality is you're going to get a little older, you know what I'm saying? And it might not fit you then. And even though SMP is reversible, like, you could always laser the front hairline, and then we could customize it, we could push it back, you know what I'm saying, make it look even more receding with your age. But, you know, these consultations are extremely important, bro.
Yeah, you know something, I mean, I see there's a big boom of students going into this field, and this industry is growing by the month,
bro, by the minute.
And I, you know, I'm like, wow, this really growing fast, and it's growing faster than I anticipated. So, what do you predict in the next 5 years with SMP?
You know, man, a lot of people always talk, like, you know, a lot of people talk about that to me, and a lot of times what I get is like negative comments like, man, I think the market's going to get saturated. It's going to get saturated. There's just so many people out there putting out SMP, teaching these classes and teaching all these students and blah, blah, blah. But I'm going to be honest with you, like, we need that, you know, and I don't believe in the whole saturation thing. But like, look, we come from an industry, like the barbering industry, that's been around way longer than Scalp Micro Pigmentation has been around, bro. And for how long have we heard, oh man, there's a barbershop in every single corner? I mean, you know, I own 2 barbershops right out here, like 2 miles away from each other. And my location that's right next to me here, there's 23 barbershops right in the same area. And there's just a new one that just opened up right across the street. But there's plenty of people out here. There's a lot of people that need haircuts. There's a lot of people that are losing their hair. I feel like right now, because of, you know, all the chemicals that they put in food and all of these medicines and all of these things, bro, like a lot of these side effects to all of these things is hair loss, bro. So like I think hair loss right now is like at its ultimate high as well. Like we're starting to see so many young people. Yesterday I worked on a guy that was 24 years old, bro, that was thinning like crazy. Wow. You know, so in the next 5 years, I just feel like the industry is going to be at an even better place. Like 2 years ago, I'll say it's been the past 2 years, this industry is starting to blow up. And everything has evolved, from the ink that we're using, the aftercare, the machines, the needles, like everything has evolved. When I started, we were using regular tattoo machines, you know, regular tattoo ink, regular tattoo needles. Now we have specific ink that's for it. So I feel like, man, it's evolving. It's definitely getting better. Right now is definitely the time to get into it, so that by the time we hit that boom, right, you're already kind of in the game, and your reviews are up. You already had the experience. So once everybody's thinking about scalp micropigmentation, just like they think of hair transplants, you know, like we'll already be on top of the market, right?
Right. And you know, and I'm starting to see a lot of women coming to the industry too.
Yep.
And then there's a lot of women clients also. You know, the hair that's thinning and edges and, you know, the top of the crown. So I see this industry being, you know, another form of permanent enhancement, so to speak.
That's exactly what it is.
And it is true, because I know years ago when I was in Michigan cutting hair and I owned the shop there, a lot of my clients, most of the clients that I had, everybody had a full head of hair, and I can cut their hair, and they had waves, or they had a small fro or whatever, line it up, it'd be sharp, it'd be crispy. But like you said, now, you know, I don't know if it's something in the food, but there's a lot of thinning going on at a younger age, you know, nutrition. And it's important, you know, to know about this kind of stuff when you come into this industry, because you're going to see all kind of different cases of it.
Well, for sure. Listen, SMP's for everybody. It's for men and women. You know, and you know some sad stuff, bro. I get phone calls a lot of times from like mothers or fathers of their kids. Like, you know, alopecia is a big thing too, where they lose, or, you know, total alopecia, where they lose all their hair, or they have the universal alopecia, where they have like real patches all over the head. So I've gotten phone calls from like a parent of a 9-year-old that is asking about, can this treatment help their kid? And, you know, we can't work on them until they're 16 years old, and we got to have special forms and stuff filled out. But man, it's real. It's literally for everybody. It doesn't matter the age that you are, from young to old, they could get SMP done. You know, obviously you can't do it before they're 16 years old, but at the age of 16, man, and it breaks my heart to have to tell them, like, look, we're gonna have to wait. And it's really because they're still developing. Like, you don't know if the hair might come back. You don't know how they're gonna take, you know, the pain of a tattoo. You get me? Even though scalp micro isn't as painful as like a traditional tattoo or anything, because we're not going as deep, you know, it still does cause uncomfortness, and some of these kids can't handle that, you know.
Right. So let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Who can train and do the procedure? Do you have to be a barber?
You don't have to be a barber. You know, you definitely need to have experience with scalp micropigmentation. And I don't mean like, there's a lot of people that are getting into this industry now, and they're doing, you know, 10, 20 procedures and thinking that they're full-blown experts. And they're starting to try to train people. Like, there's a lot of people that want to get into this just to start training. And I'm not going to lie to you. You know me, I've been into education forever, especially in the barber game. So when I got into scalp micropigmentation, my plan was to become an educator and teach this as well, because I feel like anything that works for me and that can help others, I want to share it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't need to be the only one being blessed. So I'm all about blessing people. But there are a lot of people out there that are just, getting into it just for the money and trying to teach for the money and kind of take advantage. So, if you're going to look into learning about scalp micropigmentation, you got to do your research now and make sure that they've been doing this at least a minimum of like 2 to 3 years, and that they have a good record of at least a good, before I taught my first class, I had 300 students under my belt. Sorry, not students, but procedures under my belt. So I was pretty knowledgeable as far as like knowing how to fix, a messed up procedure, and understanding the different type of skins that are out there, because everybody's different. Nobody's skin is the same. So it takes a lot, bro. But do you have to be a barber per se? You don't have to be a barber to do scalp micropigmentation. You don't have to be a barber to teach scalp micropigmentation. This is something that anybody could honestly learn and do. The only thing, I do feel like it does fall hand in hand with being a barber. Yeah. Right, because we already have so much experience with the hairlines, so I feel like that's the biggest upper hand that we have versus somebody that's not a barber. It's just we understand how to place a hairline on somebody's head shape, because not every shape, hairlines aren't cookie cutter. You don't just square somebody's shape around it and that's it. You gotta fully customize it. Especially if you're doing like a natural hairline, like some hairlines have more peaks, some have little peaks, so you got to know how to create that. So that's really the only advantage I feel that a barber has. That, and obviously in the barbershop we see so many people and meet so many people that it kind of helps out to be able to promote yourself.
Yeah, well, you've been an artist in this industry for the longest, and probably one of the best I had ever seen. So
appreciate it.
There in your case, you do have somewhat of an advantage, but you're an artist by nature.
Yeah.
And most barbers are artists, and it's a form of art. So SMP just takes it to another level, and it also helps people who has problems with balding.
Yeah.
So
and any insecurities, confidence, this is definitely an art form. The main art form that you need to know or learn is pointillism, because we're basically, we're just doing little tiny dots everywhere. You got to know about density, how spread out, how close to be, how to create texture, how to create a fade using little dots, So it's definitely 100% art, man. You have to be an artist for this, for sure. It's not just throw dots on the head and that's it.
Wow. Do you think in years to come that they'll have competitions and conventions? I'm sure they probably already do have like trade shows just for SMP.
Yeah, well, they have permanent make. So this falls in the permanent makeup industry. So they've been having permanent makeup trade shows, just like how we had the barber shows and stuff like that. And there's been a couple shows. I've heard of one in particular that just went down last year, that they had a SMP competition, and I attended one right before COVID, the whole shutdown. There was one in Miami, and they did like a little competition on some like honeydew melons to see who would do like the best SMP impressions on the honeydew melon within an hour time frame. So it was cool. There's definitely something there, man. This industry is so virgin, and that's what I learned by going to that show. Being that we've done the barber shows and hair shows for so many years, so I was really there just trying to compare it to what we are used to and where we come from, and it's definitely a virgin industry, man. There's so much that's still lacking. There's so much that's still needed in this industry. So like right now, like I said, man, it's definitely a time to get in it. It's wide open right now.
Okay, I feel that for anybody that's interested in being an SMP artist, there's some things that you're really going to have to really understand and know, that you're going to have to get a license. And is it a tattoo license, Jesse?
Yeah.
And proper training, because you're dealing with needles, you're dealing with blood, so it's a very clean atmosphere that you have to work in, an environment. So
to an extent, it's kind of like a medical atmosphere, man. Like you gotta be aware with cross contamination, and you gotta understand, how not to cross contaminate and be educated with that stuff. But yeah, for the most part, you do have to have a tattoo license because this does fall in the tattoo world. Even though it's a cosmetic tattoo, it's still, the licensing is the tattoo licensing. So every state is different on what they require for you to do. I know Florida, you got to do the bloodborne pathogen test, which teaches you about cross-contamination and stuff like that, which is basically the same test we take as barbers. Every time we got to renew our barber license, and even when we first apply for it, same exact test, just for tattooing. And then, you got the application. There's some states that require you to do apprenticeship under a tattoo establishment, which is kind of crazy because tattoo artists don't do scalp micropigmentation. Like, this isn't the same thing. It's not the same ink, not the same needles. They don't have the same exact knowledge that we have with what we're doing. And we do go into different layers of the skin than traditional tattoos go into. So it's like almost like I trained a bunch of tattoo artists, and when they're in my class, they're kind of like cocky, and they've been tattooing for 20 years. And once I start teaching them what I'm teaching, it's like, bro, everything that you've told me contradicts everything that I was taught in tattooing. Just as simple as like the angle that we hold the machine is a 90-degree angle. When you're tattooing somebody, you can't hold a 90-degree angle because you tear up the skin. I mean, you got to be at an angle to glide through the skin and all that stuff. We're not digging into the skin so deep. There's barely just a little tip of the needle that's going in. We're staying like in the lower parts of the epidermis, barely even breaking into the dermis layer, to be able to create these tiny impressions. Because if you do go too deep, you go down into that dermis layer, you create what's called a blowout, and that's where the ink just spreads underneath the skin, and you get these big old dots, and they get turned kind of blue or green depending on the undertone of the person's skin. So there's a lot of knowledge when it comes to understanding the skin, understanding the cells on how they work and how they hold on to the ink and how the ink spreads underneath the skin. Like, there's a lot more to it. It's not literally, like I said, but it's not just take a machine, needle, dip it in ink, and poke somebody's head. There's a lot of artists out there that are tearing people up because of that.
Now, when those mishaps happen, are these artists reprimanded by the state, or is there some type of guideline to protect clients from those type of artists?
Nah, man, the sad thing is that tattooing is not really regulated. So it's a fine line between being able to sue somebody because they messed you up, because of it being a service. So like I'll give you a little quick story on that. I had a client that reached out to me from Pittsburgh, right? That he got messed up really bad out there by some place out there, and he sent me pictures, and actually I went out there to go work on a couple clients out there that flew me out there, and I got to see him in person. And I was gonna see if there was a way that I could camouflage it and kind of hide it, but the dots were just so big and so blue because he was very, very fair skinned that I told him that he has to get a laser. There's no other way to do it. So long story short, six laser sessions in order to try to remove it as much as possible, because the dots were so big that they didn't look like little follicles. They looked like real big blackheads, right? And they were blue. So he got the laser treatment done, and then I was able to fix his. But in the whole process, we tried fighting, and I helped him. I tried helping him as much as I could fight that company, versus his credit card company and a lawyer and everything. And I wrote a letter, a lengthy professional letter with the business header and all of that stuff, with pictures of what SMP should look like, what his look like, what bad SMP looks like explaining the depths of the skin, just kind of showing them, like we're supposed to replicate the hair follicles, and it shouldn't turn blue, and the dots shouldn't be huge or anything like that. And at first it looked like they were going to go in his favor, and we were going to be able to get the money back for him, because he did spend $3,600 on his procedure. But it didn't fall through. It ended up falling through the loop of, it's a service, and there's no real guideline that states this is a bad procedure, this is a good procedure. So he kind of got stuck, with that whole bill of $3,600. So, again, with me trying to help him out, man, and just being a good guy like I always am, because I don't do things for money. I really do things to help others. I looked out for him. you know, I wasn't gonna charge him again full price for his procedure, so I ended up just charging him, bro, $1,500 just to fix his procedure. Still provided him with 2 sessions and a 3rd warranty session, which I ended up having to use that 3rd session to really tie it all in, man. And crazy thing, you know, this guy's like a confident individual, and bro, he broke down plenty of times. There was times where he called me and just going through it because he had to have that laser, and he felt so down on himself that he made a decision to go with them people because they were local instead of coming to me, you know, like, because we had already been in conversation beforehand. And you know, nothing wrong with that, and not saying that he had to go to me, because I'm sure there's other people out there, especially in his area. I know a lot of SMP artists that I could have referred him to, but you know, he just kind of just jumped the gun and did what he did. So it was really bad, bro. It was really bad.
Wow. So are there cases where there's clients who shouldn't get SMP at all? Is there any cases that might arise like that?
Honestly, anybody and everybody can get SMP. Obviously, depending on certain medical cases, there's certain ways that you got to go about it, you know, versus with them going to see their doctors, and because of certain prescription medications that they're on, depending, like, if their skin, depending on the kind of skin they have. So, like, they have skin that has really bad psoriasis, things like that, where it could flare up, or it's already flared up, and their skin just won't take the ink well, it won't heal right. Just little things like that, then yeah, you know, they wouldn't be able to get SMP. But for the most part, the majority of people can. I mean, if they deal with like skin cancer, stuff like that, then they can't get SMP done neither. But again, for the majority of it, bro, almost anybody could get SMP. It really just comes down to how you feel. So when I do these consultations with my clients, I definitely try to make sure that this is what they want to do. You know, they have to be committed, because this is a true commitment. You know, this isn't something that you just try and then, if it doesn't work out, I go get laser because that's an option. That laser could also damage the skin really bad. You know, if you do the procedure the right way, the laser should just take it away within 1 or 2 sessions, because you're not saturating the skin so much. But it just, you know, varies in different cases. So again, when I do these consultations with the people, man, I hear them out, and I try to work with their solutions and why they want to get SMP done. And I've talked people out of getting the procedure done. I didn't get into this to take people's money. I got into this to help people. So I've literally taught people out of getting SMP done because they were just so like unsure of what they wanted. And the last thing I want to do is talk somebody into something and then be like, damn, I shouldn't have did this, you know, like, and because then that kind of falls on me if I talk you into it, you know?
I mean, I'm glad that I did it. It definitely changed the way I look and made me look a little different in my clothing and my appearance. So I'm happy did, and I look forward to doing it for other people. And and another thing that people should know, what is the average time to get a procedure? What is about the average time?
So SMP procedure can range anywhere from 2 hours to 6 hours. It really just depends on how much coverage you got to create, and it depends on the person's skin too, because if somebody's got really oily or really dry skin, the skin doesn't really absorb the ink as easily, so you got to kind of slow yourself down. You got to slow your impressions, pack a little bit of extra ink into the skin for it to absorb. So that could, make a 2 hour procedure easily into a 4 hour procedure. Like with your skin in particular, your skin takes this ink amazing. So I'm like already, I'm about 3/4 of the way done with you already. We just started.
Nice.
But yeah, it varies, and then it also varies on the experience of the practitioner. Like me, I'm pretty quick with it because, again, I've been doing it for 6 years. I've done thousands of procedures. I mean, I know last year for sure I did 1,200 procedures last year. Man, it's crazy. I had, we use Square for everything, for like all our invoice and all of that stuff. So they send you the yearly result, not results, but like the reviews of what you did, income and all that stuff, bro. So I had 1,200 procedures last year, man, which is crazy. So yeah, because I have so much experience, I could kind of flow through the skin. I adjust to the skin within like the first like 2-3 minutes. I remember in the beginning it would take me about like 30 to 40 minutes just to adjust to the person's skin and figure out how much pressure, how much speed I got to be in and out of the skin with for it to take. And then certain parts of the head varies as well too on how it takes the ink. The front hairline normally takes the ink really easy. Back here, it starts to get a little tougher because the skin is thicker. So I gotta adjust. Sometimes I gotta adjust my machine. I gotta adjust my pressure. I gotta adjust the speed. You know, there's different things. There's so many different things, which goes back to like the whole teaching SMP. Like, how do these guys get into SMP? Only done like 20 procedures and feel like they could teach this, and they've never experienced anything. So now they teach somebody, and now that somebody's going through it. They can't figure out how to get the skin to stick, the ink to stick on this person's skin because they have I don't know, a lot of scar tissue or something like that. So what's the technique, you know?
Oh, wow.
If they get a client that's all blotched up, that they have, you know, very uneven SMP all over, and how do you even that out? You know, like, there's just so much that it takes to do an SMP. It's very easy to do, but extremely easy to mess up at the same time.
Oh, wow. Well, I would say this. Anybody that's thinking about becoming an SMP artist, please find you a reputable trainer, an artist who's very well versed and very well trained in the field. And also, if you're thinking about getting SMP, do your homework. And there are various artists around the country who are very good, as well as Jesse. And how can they find you, Jesse?
Listen, man, you guys can reach me on my Instagram page, 6, the number 6, the letter E, dot Jesse Lima, JESSE LIMA. And you don't have to come to me. You get me? Like, you can reach out to me, and if I could find you a provider in that area, if you're already thinking about getting some SMP done with somebody and you see that you want to show me their pictures, like, I don't mind telling you, yes, they're good, no, they're not good, maybe you should go to this person, you know. And I'm not getting paid by nobody or anything like that, you know. I am part of a couple pro teams in the SMP industry, so I do know a lot of other pro SMP artists that I could, you know, point in your directions if you don't want to travel, you know. But if you do want to travel, understand that with Scalp Micro Pigmentation, you don't have to go to somebody local. You want to go to somebody that produces the work that you want on your head. So the style SMP that I do may not be the style for you. But if it is, you know, jumping on a quick flight, because SMP doesn't take so long to do, you could literally fly in and out the same day. So you don't have to worry about hotel expenses and rental car, you know, all of that stuff if you don't want to. If you want to just be in and out, you could definitely do that. I have people do that all the time. I've had clients come in from New Zealand, from Vancouver, Canada, Washington, all over the whole United States. We've even had a client that came from Afghanistan, from London, from Spain. Like, we've had people come from all over the world. So this is definitely a procedure that it's an art form. So you got to go with somebody that does what you want.
Nice. Well, I definitely appreciate it, Jesse, what you've done for me, and I appreciate you, you know, sharing it with the audience. And if you guys are in Tampa or anywhere in the United States and you looking for SMP artists, you can reach out to Jesse. You can reach out to your local artists and just see, you know, if it was something that you would be interested in getting done and to see if it can work for you.
Yeah, man, listen, consultations are free. You know, it's all about just asking some questions, checking portfolio, making sure that they produce the work that you like and that you vibe with them too. Like, if they don't give you the vibe that you want, if you don't feel comfortable with that person, definitely don't go with them, you know?
Okay. Well, there you have it, guys. Scalp Micro Pigmentation. Is it here to stay? I think so.
Oh, yeah.
It's not going anywhere. And it's, you know, I'm glad that it's here because it just gives me another look. And, you know, who doesn't want to look good? So,
sir,
until next time, we is out. Peace.